say, like, I know that I really, really like you. It was that kind of, I really, 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 really like you.
And I want to spend every day with you.
Yeah.
And this makes sense to make this commitment. But there was just something else that switched
more of a
on
feeling.
that day. Yeah.
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 Do you still have that now?
Yeah. I do.
I would say
not all the time.
That feeling was very unique. Let me say that feeling was very unique.
Okay.
I don't think I've felt anything like that.
As intense
as that. At the end of the day, when you're back to, I'm not going to say back to reality or normality, but when you're doing your day to day,
yeah,
then you're doing day to day. Now we've got 3 children, and there's no time.
Yeah.
Just laying in bed, you might be looking at each other, but I'm ready to go to sleep or whatever. So,
do you still carve out time for each other like that? Do you have date night? Do you still look into each other's eyes?
Yeah. We haven't done of late. In the beginning of the lockdown period, we definitely did carve out time for ourselves and say, okay, let's do a puzzle night or let's do what have you. But the thing is, we do carve out time naturally when you come home from work, the children are in bed, and we have however long the discussion goes.
Like I said, we talk a lot anyway.
Yeah, so that takes up most of the time.
So it's just been the fact of maybe not making it as the setting romantic or what have you, but the time is still there.
Yes, yeah. So apart from the children, what things do you have in common? What things do you like doing together?
I'd say the things we have in common, I'd say we love music. Going to gigs when that happened.
We love travelling.
Yes.
Just anywhere that we can see that's new.
Just exploring, just new things.
What is the biggest decision you've ever made together?
I guess I struggle with this question a little bit, just because I guess I'm a bit black and white when it comes to this. So basically, Leon came to me when we had our second child and said that he wasn't too sure if he wanted to be a Christian anymore.
Okay.
And at that point, I guess because we'd entered our relationship with that foundation, I struggled with it. I struggled with it because it's not something I was accustomed to. I struggled with it because I was like, what does this mean? Like, what does this mean? Because at that time in my life, Christianity and church was like family. So it's in a sense you're denying my family. You're denying what that's all about. And so we definitely knocked heads for about 2 years, 2-3 years, I'd say, of just constant battling and talking and arguing and stuff. But
about that topic or about everything? Because
then my thing was, because it was so kind of narrow-minded, it's either you're a Christian or you're not. There was no kind of, everybody I was around growing up, most of them were either Christians or not. So, and I could understand that. You make a choice. But when you're telling me that you're not a Christian, but you don't know what you want to be or where you fit, where do I place you? And so, and then you're bringing lots of different ideas and beliefs and traditions and everything else to me. And it was just a lot to deal with. It was like, well, who is this? It's like I was having to relearn a different person.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was really hard to understand him again and to make a decision as to what would I choose to do based on how the tradition of the faith is that, you know, you marry someone who's in the faith. Would I choose to continue building a life with someone who doesn't have the same values as me in terms of the faith?
I would say that was the hardest situation.
Okay.
That was a situation where we wasn't too sure whether, based on how I was operating and where you was going, I was thinking, is this going to last?
Yeah.
I think that was the only point where I would say this is like, all right, there's going to have to be a decision made at some point in this,
yeah,
and it could go either way.
Yes.
And so I guess that was a hard decision at times. And I think the only thing that settled it probably was like a year in of us just bickering for ages, was when Leon said to me, "Is love not enough?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, of course it is." I was like, "Yes, actually it is." Like, nobody believes the same thing anyway. So why am I so fixated that if you don't believe what I believe, then this is not going to work?
Our relationship wasn't built on religion. That was my point.
Yeah.
It wasn't built on the basis of anything we believe. It was built on our attraction to each other.
Yeah.
So yes, we could argue about this topic for the rest of our lives, or how to disagree on this topic for the rest of our lives. This is how we felt. So
Leon, do you think that your faith as a Christian before played any part in your relationship together?
It did, because we did have obviously some sort of common ground. We did have some sort of general understanding, and I'd say based off of that, what I thought I wanted in life, I guess largely was formulated on a belief system, which I always struggled with, to be fair with. I mean, I've always been a person that always questioned everything, to the point I annoy myself.
Leon, did you feel supported by Martina when you told her that you wanted to change your faith?
Oh, no, completely not. I mean, at this point, it was, you do what you're doing, I'm doing what I'm doing.
Okay.
That was it. It was, yes, that's you're going to do what you want to do in your life, being a Christian. I don't know how we're going to raise the children, or what we're going to raise them to believe, or think, not necessarily believe, because that was a key part of my questions. The main reason I even, I guess, started to re-question was after having the children. And again, going back to upbringing, my stepdad was like a teacher in the church. People very much looked up to him for how much he studied, and he was very philosophical.
Yeah.
And he looked at things differently. And I kind of grew up seeing him constantly researching, always having different ideas about things. I got banned from watching Power Rangers because it's
violent, and
we weren't allowed to do loads of stuff because of what he had researched into. And yes, I had this kind of upbringing of I just hung on his every word of, this is what church is about, this is what the Bible's about, this is what God's about. After having the children, I was like, I'm going to teach my children to do something based on what I believe through what I've been told, not based on what I know.
Right.
And I can actually say I've looked into for myself and 100% know why I'm doing this. It was like, okay, I need to figure that out. And then as I started looking, I could say to myself, yeah,
I'm seeing flaws.
Yeah. What I discovered through it was the information has been given to us as in a baby stage, where from what I've discovered, it is all about you and self.
Right.
Actually what the whole book is about, or pretty much all of the religious books, not religions themselves, but the teachers, the practices, what it's actually, whether that's metaphysically saying or the occult knowledge behind it, is all about you and self.
Yes, yeah.
So for me, it was like, I can't be a part of the religion when the book is telling me so much about myself, and it is all self-work.
Right.
Therefore, everyone would be a lot better if they was given the adult version of what this story is telling you.
Yes, yeah.
It improves you as a person rather than just sitting there waiting for something outside of you
to happen. Yeah.
So therefore now, bringing that to the children, I have to lose the religious aspect of it and give you the meat of what is being said in it to help my children. Now that I understand that for myself, I feel like I can better explain certain things to my child. So again, Tina still goes to church. I don't. It's your life. Do whatever you want, and the children are also yours. Do whatever you want. But I will then give my perspective of maybe what they're now telling me about God or Jesus. I will now give you my perspective, because again, we've said to both of them, at the end of the day, this is still my perspective. I don't know. Mum does.
Yeah.
At one point, Daddy believed what Grandma believes.
Yeah.
I no longer do, because we can change. So you may hear what I'm saying now. That doesn't mean what I'm saying is the truth. You to have different perspectives, and you decide as you evolve, as you get older.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Will you discuss together some of your contradicting beliefs or perspectives?
We don't hide anything from the children.
Oh. Now that Leon's decided that he doesn't want to practice Christianity anymore, how has that changed how you do things as a family? Do you still go to church, Martina?
I go to church, not as regularly as I used to. I used to go weekly.
Okay.
But I don't. It's weird that I guess sometimes I think that actually Leon's journey of deciding he didn't want to go to church was more my journey in the sense of the things that he brought to me challenged me to think, what am I saying I believe actually? What am I saying I believe? Am I saying I believe this from my upbringing? Or am I saying I believe this because I believe this to be true for me? And yeah, it's taking a completely different turn for me. I still go to church for different reasons, believe in God, and just believe that there were certain things from my upbringing that it definitely helped me with. Just from a spiritual perspective, I think we're all here to be our unique selves. So that's what I'm here to do. So I feel like for me, with the children especially, we've kind of now raised them trying to incorporate both of our belief systems and our upbringings. Of just kind of saying, do you know what, you do need to connect to a source, whether you call it source, whether you call it God or what have you. I will personally use my platform of church, and that will help you to negotiate with however it works for you.
Would you use the same process that you used then with other dilemmas that you have or changes that you may present to each other?
I think
I think we do. Again, because we talk too much or so much, it was that, I mean, every argument ended in, you know what, I'm not talking to you about this no more. And then the next day after I've looked at something or done some research into something, I'm like, Tina, look at it.
I think the key element, I feel, for us was that we just remained as open as we could be. So even though there would be days where I'd be like, Leon, I can't talk about this again today. I cannot talk about this new discovery or this new knowledge that you've had. I just want to chill. I just want to relax. So, but I would come back to him and then go, all right, I'm here. Because we've had other situations like losing a baby, but I feel like we were just in it together. I don't feel like there was any divide in that sense. It was together. But in terms of there being a divide, that was definitely the faith.
Yes, yeah. So coming up on the next episode of Love Is Martina and Leon.
I felt like I was going through it on my own, but I didn't turn around to Leon and think it's just me going through it. I feel like he could observe what I was going through and supported me in it. And so I would say we went through it together. However, I wouldn't say that he displayed the same stuff as me.
I hope you find this series useful. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss any new shows and my therapeutic analysis of each episode.